Humanity and the nations of the world, one more time, thus says your brother Dan Moses or say Sakode of TRC, Ghana. Coming your way with the part 3 of this expose, subjected spaghetti posing as pasta, P-A-S-T-A, but is lasagna. Spaghetti posing as pasta, but it's lasagna. Humanity, I would want us to get it clear. It's disheartening, it's unfortunate that our own institution, the United Nations, a clicks hit in the institution to do this damage to the United Nations and the nations of the world. These exposés that are coming in this episode, they are not against the United Nations, neither is it against any nation or anybody. It is in defense of the United Nations, in defense of humanity, in defense of democracy, in defense of truth. It is in defense of life, against the secret killing of the innocent. It is in defense of democracy. It is in defense of the blood of my people of Ghana. Humanity, the understanding of us has been that in 2018, August the 18th, Kofi Annan was killed in secrecy as a diversionary tactic to prevent Ghana and the nations of the world from knowing from Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's administration, which was getting exposed in the heinous crimes against humanity in Ghana, because tons of documents have reached the office of the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, the then Right Honorable Mike Okwe, regarding heinous crimes, years of heinous crimes against Ghana and humanity, which the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, Right Honorable Mike Okwe, was sitting on to cover up the killing of our people. It got to a point they could no longer contain the expose. So diversionary tactics what they had to do. They gave Kofi Annan over to be killed in secrecy when the exploitation of Efiapokria had gotten out of hand and the center could no longer hold. They were able to pull strings to let the United Nations play smart, somebody from the inquiry team play smart in the interest of Ban Ki-moon and their cliques, their religious cliques, political cliques, diplomatic cliques of Ghana and America, that the blood of Kofi Annan be covered. Ghana and the nations of the world, we defend life, we defend Kofi Annan's blood, and we defend the blood of precious Ghanaians, because Kofi Annan was the United Nations, and the United Nations was Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan was a member of the human race, and we believe in the human race. Whichever of us is affected, we are all affected, and we must stand and watch out for each other. That is why we defend the blood of Kofi Annan. Humanity, let's hear my response. Let's see this document. It bears the stamp of the office of the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, meaning that officially a copy went to the office of the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, including tons of documents in regarding the heinous crimes of crimes against Ghana and humanity. And all these documents, Right Honorable Mike Okwe was sitting on them, aiding the willful covering up of crimes against Ghana and humanity, so that he would get a new parliament building upon all the bribery that they have made, that they have received from the US government. He would get a new parliament building at the expense of the blood of Ghanaians. So there will be a small office of the Speaker of the Parliament, very new one, built for him. Old man. You get a new office of the Speaker of Parliament building, and a new office of the Speaker, and a new parliamentary building. This is the reason why Speaker Aaron Mike Okwe, Honorable J. Mensah Bonsu, the majority speaker, contended before the eyes of Ghana, before his own political party, that the election that took place at the parliament was a fraud. Was a fraud. Somebody was seeking to cover up the crimes of Aaron Mike Okwe. That they tied the hands of courageous Right Honorable Abambabin of a different political party and put him there as the speaker. That the tons of documents that at the office, they will all be on his neck. Then I'll continue serving the office with document that the innocent will bear the consequence of the heinous crime covering by Aaron Michael Kwe. That is why God has been tactical. He said, it is the soul that sinneth that shall die. It is not Right Honorable Abambabi who committed these crimes and covered up the crimes. Therefore, God has been tactical, strategic. No further documents have gone to the office of the Speaker of Parliament ever since he took office. These evils were done by Aaron Mike Okwe, Right Honorable, with religious cliques, political cliques, diplomatic cliques of Ghana and America. To the killing of Kofi Annan, they exploited a woman's mind. Ifiapokuya, I wear the coat of many colors. I announce to the religious criminals, those that are betraying Ghana, PAST, pastor that call themselves shepherds, and are giving our people over to be killed. Also a donor and your cliques, that I am wearing the coat of many colors, the one that was rejected by the US undercover agent. I value my life and I will not remarry her. I would not marry your Ifiapokuya, neither would I marry any of your traitors. I would not. Kweku Owusu Edona, you can hate me and hate my family in Kuma. Hate us. You can hate us, I don't care. You can rain curses on us that we are cursed. I don't care. All I know is I will not marry a killer to get me killed. Period. Abraham, read your Bible. Abraham married his sister. Isaac married his sister Rebecca. Go check your own Bible. Come and hate me and demand that I go marry a killer so you can easily get me poison. I won't. You have killed my Nana Daniel Opoku Ejeyi, and Daniel forever lives. He never dies. Therefore, you are seeing Daniel speaking in defense of the blood of Daniel. I read. This is dated February the 13th, 2019. United Nations response came to me on January the 4th, 2019, and I quickly responded by taking a copy to the US, by taking a copy to the Parliament of Ghana, a copy to the Office of the Speaker, the Office of the Prosecutor, ICC Hague, a copy to Office of the Chairperson of the African Union, a copy to Office of the Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana. Bye. It was addressed to the UN Secretary General, the office. I read. This is my response to the willful crime covering tactic by the inquiry team calling the United Nations incompetent to make an inquiry into the secret killing of Kofi Annan. Let's hear my response. They were referring to me in the case that I am an individual. The International Criminal Court doesn't handle cases submitted by individuals. I have told the United Nations over and over again, I am the only member of the human race who is not a nation, yet is a member of the United. If I write to them, this is how I sign as the only member of the United Nations who is not a nation. You know, they are a holy nation. You are denying my right to be a Ghanaian, my right to belong to America. So I am a citizen of the United States and a member of the United Nations. Come and kill me. I am reading. The Office of the UN Secretary General, the United Nations Headquarters, 405 East 42nd Street, New York, 10017, February the 12th, 2019. Just as their January the 4th, 2019 was tactical in connection with Ifiapokwe and the US undercover agent, I also had to give them tactical February the 12th, 2019. As we go on, we would see what that date has to do with the killing of Jerry John Rawlings. I was hinting them about more to be killed in the pipeline. God is watching. I read, dear sir or madam, I was writing to the office of the UN Secretary General. The UN Secretary General is His Excellency Antonio Guterres. The office has male and female. So whoever handles this document, I'm addressing the office staff as dear sir or madam. I'm not addressing the inquiry team of the United Nations. Subject: interestingly, laughter bringing. Interestingly, laughter bringing. In other words, United Nations, your letter to me, your response to my probe inquest investigation request, your response is laughable. It brings so much laughter. Let's read. I read. Interestingly, laughter bringing. Let's read the subject. Humanity, you would hear the tone. What the inquiry team was used to do, to trample down the blood of Kofi Annan, was disrespecting and insulting to the human race, insulting to the United Nations. Therefore, I had to respond to them in the same vein. At the end of it, I had to tell them, Moon, you haven't heard anything. At the appointed time, I will respond with the right tone that you deserve. But it shall go to the International Criminal Court so that it will diplomatically, it will not be on your records. The African is not stupid. Neither are his people. Humanity is not stupid. The United Nations is not stupid. Humanity has had enough. Let's go on. So I started by bursting into laughter. I said it is interesting laughter bring. So I started by bursting into laughter. It is there. That's how it starts. The laughter. Okay. So let's go on. Let's read. Please, sir or madam, if that letter which came to me supposedly from the office of the UN Secretary General was intended to test my temperance and to get me upset, then it is rather bringing laughter in the face of the secret willful killing of Dr. Busumuru Kofi Atta Annan. If you intended to get me upset, it has rather brought me laughter, though Kofi Annan has been secretly killed. This is the African speaking. I continue. The former UN Secretary General, Kofi Atta Annan, then I define him well. The Kofi Atta Annan, the former UN Secretary. So I'm not talking about any other Kofi Atta Annan. It is the UN Secretary. That is what I'm talking about. Let's go on. What shall humanity do in the face of these boa crushing times? Than to laugh some of our great sorrows off. In other words, United Nations, you are crushing our bowels with the trampling down of the blood of Kofi Annan. However, we will laugh it off. Then I say, let my people, the United Nations, my own people of the United, start thinking. Let my people, let them think. Because there is power in the regenerated, redeemed mind, put in the head by God. I continue. Ghana, we must know that it is the terror activities against me by the terrorist of Nana Addo Akufo, Koko Usu Max FM. This calls for this to be done, and we are doing it on the behalf of humanity. They can shut Ghana down. They can do so on the whole nation to divert the attention of the people from the heinous crime being exposed. We go on. I think that as the only member of the United Nations, I'm referring to myself, I think that as the only, I call them to a time to, I said they should think. And then I started to, I think that as the only member of the United Nations who is not a nation, I have to say regarding the heinous crimes against humanity and the nations of the world that we, let me define what the we are. We, the United Nations, must have the courage to admit without shame that we, the United Nations, have woefully failed the we have failed the United Nations, humanity, and the precious soul of Dr. Busumuru Kofi Atta Annan. We have failed United Nations, we have failed humanity, and we have failed Kofi Atta Annan. We have failed him. May his precious soul rest with the Lord. Then I continue. Dear sir or madam, I know we, the United Nations, certainly know without any shadow of doubt that I quote, Kofi Annan was the United Nations and the United Nations was Kofi Annan, unquote. Yea, let my people think. I was referring to their own quotation. Let's go on. For Kofi Annan, as we, the United Nations, know from the just quoted infallible truth that no nation on earth, certainly not Ghana, can claim ownership of Dr. Kofi Atta Annan under any national or international law based on the truth we know. I'm saying that we know that Kofi Annan was the United Nations and the United Nations was Kofi Annan, and therefore not any nation on earth, not Ghana, can claim Kofi Annan, can claim ownership of Kofi Annan. It is the United Nations that must claim ownership of Kofi Annan, because the United Nations told the world that Kofi Annan was the United Nations and the United Nations was Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan was not Ghana and Ghana was not Kofi Annan. We can think. Let's go on. Besides, we, the United Nations, know so well that crimes against humanity can in no wise be deemed an internal issue. Crimes against humanity can in no wise be deemed an internal issue of any nation. Therefore, we, the United Nations, are compelled by our own ethics, principles, tenets, and both national and international law, not just by my humble call, to probe, investigate, and inquest into the willful killing of the United Nations. I said to the willful killing of the United Nations, because the killing of Kofi Annan is the killing of the United Nations, because Kofi Annan was the United Nations and United Nations was Kofi Annan. I read on. Dear sir or madam, I, a legitimate member of the United Nations, humbly reminds us, the United Nations, that we, the United Nations, cannot undermine the legitimacy and competence of the International Criminal Court, ICC Hague, by unacceptably playing an advocate for the International Criminal Court to the undermining of the competence of the many competent judges, prosecutors, and lawyers of the ICC, who are far more than capable of speaking for our legitimate and competent court, ICC. I hope we understand. We are saying United Nations, the Inquiry Division, or whoever the response came from, don't undermine the competency of the ICC. Don't undermine the competency of the Office of the Prosecutor. Don't undermine the competency of their many judges. Don't undermine the competency of the court. Don't do that. And in other words, our own ethics as the United Nations, principles, tenets, compel us as United Nations to probe, to inquest and investigate the assassination, the secret murder of Kofi Annan, and not because I have called for that investigation. The onus, the challenge, the mandate rests on you to do that. That was the African speaking to the defense of the United Nations. I continue. Dear sir or madam, I, a legitimate member of the United Nations, humbly okay, we are done with this. Let's go on. Therefore, as the United Nations undermine the competence of the Hague and is trying to pose to be their advocate, speak for the Hague and their lawyers and their prosecutors, and will not let the Hague speak for itself, then I say, therefore, here too, once more, we, the United Nations, have failed. Ouch. Ooh. Laugh. I think, like the United Nations, I have managed to bring us some more laughter in the face of plain truth I have just spoken on the behalf of the United Nations, the ICC, and humanity. So laugh. Let's go on. Dear sir or madam, on an equally serious note, records available at the office of the UN Secretary General prove that I, a legitimate member of the United Nations, legitimate member of the United Nations, do not recognize the fraudulent presidency of Nana Addo Akufo Addo, which was treacherously imposed on the noble people. Ghana, you hear your defense? I'm going on. Which was treacherously imposed on the noble people of Ghana secretly at the expense of the franchise of the electorate of Ghana through the diabolical secret Game of Thrones. Ghana, I defended your democracy. I defended we the people. I defended our state before the United Nations. I defended the blood of Kofi Annan before the United Nations against the willful cover-up. I go on. The Game of Thrones, the real enemy and threat to democracy, global democracy. I continue. Therefore, not Nana Addo Akufo Addo or any member of his government or his administration has any legal, moral, ethical, or jurisdictional right to claim the case of heinous crimes against Ghana, the United Nations, and humanity, which case is before the legitimate and competent court ICC, as an internal issue. In other words, the African is contending on the behalf of Kofi Annan that I made it officially clear to the United Nations that because my national elections has been robbed for Nana Addo Akufo in 2016, they have imposed him against the franchise of the Ghanaian cliques in the of the United Ban Ki-moon in the United States. You did this together with the administration of Barack Obama, powers in America and powers in Ghana. You colluded and this put Nana Addo Akufo, so you must further up the covering up of the killing of Ghanaians, and you did it to the killing of Kofi Annan, and still you are covering up. And I tell the United Nations that I don't accept. I don't accept the fraudulent government of Nana Addo Akufo Addo. I don't accept this administration for you to tell me that the killing of Kofi Annan is an internal issue of Ghana, and therefore a fraudulent government should handle the killing of Kofi Annan. I don't accept it. I go on. So it is never an internal issue of the nation Ghana. It is not. I go on. Any investigation which has or shall ever be claimed to have been carried out in Ghana under the administration of Nana Addo Akufo Addo in the criminal case before the ICC is illegitimate. No matter which investigation that is conducted by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in a crime against humanity, a case is before the ICC, not before the government of Nana Addo Dankwa. Any investigation is illegitimate, and I will not accept it. And a total fiasco intended for willful crime covering, and is therefore inadmissible. This is legal term, inadmissible. No matter which willful covering, crime covering investigation that is done by the administration of Nana Addo Dankwa, it is not admissible before the law, because it is the crime stake that are conducting that crime covering investigation to cover up the killing. So it is inadmissible before the law, before the United Nations, and before humanity. We will not accept it. Yes, the African, on the behalf of Ghana, United Nations, and global democracy, renders the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo null and void. Case closed. Period. This is written in the document. Case closed. It is finished. Thank you. God bless my homeland, Ghana. Can I continue to defend you? Let's go on. Dear sir or madam, as a legitimate and only member of the United Nations, who is not a nation, I know if I were to respond to our institution, that is the United Nations, according to the diplomatically unacceptable response which I unfortunately received, supposedly from the United Nations. Tempest, if I was to respond according to this United Nations document, if I was to respond, Tempest would have made the response diplomatically unacceptable. So, in spite of these tones, I said you haven't heard anything yet. What we deserve to be, the tone we deserve to be used for us, we haven't heard anything yet. You can't kill my people and cover it up. For this reason, should the need arise, I shall rather send my actual response, which tone may certainly reflect in the response to the ICC, so that will, for the sake of peace, be off our records. Be off records. United Nations, I will not bring that harsh tone response that your letter needs to be responded to. I will not bring it to you. I'll take it to ICC. So it will not, diplomatically, it will not be on our record. It will be on the records of the ICC. Let's go on. The United Nations, that will not be on our records. The United Nations diplomatic records. Okay. Irrespective, my response may officially remain on the legal records of the International Criminal Court, ICC Hague, for the sake of humanity and the nations of the world. Thank you. I read on. God keep the precious soul of Dr. Busumuru Kofi Annan and Reverend Dr. David Nabemado. God help humanity to be strong and of good courage and resist to avoid my two tortured and abducted children, Elizabeth and Grace. You have seen them over and over again. Elizabeth and Grace, from being the reward for crimes against Ghana, the United Nations, and humanity. In other words, crimes have been committed against Ghana, United Nations, and humanity. My children should not be used for the reward for the crimes. God bless the United Nations. God bless the ICC. God bless humanity and the nations of the world. God bless Africa. And God bless my homeland, Ghana. Yours faithfully, signed Osei Yasakodie, a legitimate member of the UN, a Ghanaian and an African. Christ is my Lord and Savior. Right there it is. A legitimate member of the United Nations. So, United Nations, sorry, somebody at the inquiry team, I am not an individual. According to the Bible, I am a holy nation, a royal priesthood. And nations belong to the United Nations. So I am a legitimate member, only member of the United Nations. That is an individual and yet a nation. So don't tell me the ICC has no right to inquire, to try the crimes against Ghana and humanity. Don't tell us that. that the ICC is not competent. Humanity and the nations of the world. Of a truth. Humanity and the nations of the world are at stake. The image of the United Nations is at stake. We are all at stake. That is why wisdom teaches us to shield information, shield evidence, shield document, to avoid the global situation getting worse. However, the new terrorists know no law. Their objective is one: kill, steal, and destroy. And they never know to show remorse. They must continue their killing, stealing, and destruction till their victims get used to their terror. There is no terror group in the world, whether Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or any terror group that we know, that is as dangerous as the terror network of Nana Addo Akufo, who have no conscience to admit their own secret cowardly killing. I wish they had courage to admit their crimes, that the world take them on for their criminality. Humanity and the nations of the world. We continue to be circumspect. But however, we refuse for us to be continuously terrorized. We refuse for my 2 tortured and abducted children to be the reward for crimes. We refuse to get married to minds that are run by political, diplomatic, and religious, to plant an agent into my life so they can kill me easily. I will not. Ghana, Efiapokuya was exploited by diplomatic religious sticks in 2007 to 2019. In 2021, it is my precious family that they sought to play after they have killed my uncle. They sought to play to wound us the more. God was watching closely and carefully. That is why Africa, I have reiterated that I will never accept any apology from the United. This was established under Ban Ki-moon. I will not accept any apology from the United because the killing of our people of Ghana, this heinous crimes against humanity, was it was carefully planned to be done and is being done. Therefore, any apology must go to the African people. That's it. I don't want such apology. If you not go to the African people, don't bring it to me. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless my homeland, Ghana. It is finished. We shall continue. God bless Africa. God bless the nations of the world. Bye-bye. All men are created equal. Au revoir.